a healing sanctuary nestled on 11 acres in Gold Hill, North Carolina. Surrounded by nature's embrace, this land features a labyrinth, a natural energy vortex, peaceful hiking trails, and so much soulful magic. We offer 5 unique spaces to stay, including a spacious retreat house that sleeps up to 16, a cozy log home for gatherings, a romantic cabin for 2 with a jacuzzi tub, yurts for grounding under the stars, outdoor showers, and facilities to connect with the elements. Sacred Grove is home to transformative retreats from yoga and meditation to mindset and empowerment journeys that spark healing and spiritual growth. To learn more or book your next retreat, email me at email me at ellenwdrb@gmail.com. And I'd love to help you craft your miracle moment. So to start the show off today, I would like to start with a mindset moment. And today's mindset moment is really consists of changing 2 words that I know I found myself using all the time, which were have tos. And I did a personal growth training, and it taught me 2 words to use that literally changed my life. And that was changing all of my have tos into get tos. And I can't tell you what a transformation it made. Now, owning a retreat center, there's a lot of chores that I get to do, such as cleaning, that are not my favorite thing to do a lot of times. And they were definitely in the have-to category. And I would look at my calendar sometimes, and I would start walking over to start cleaning something with a very much dreading it, and just in this drudgery, like I was walking through mud, because it was something I had to do. And during the training, they talked to us about changing have-tos to get-tos, because when we're doing something that we get to do, we're excited about it. So when we get to go on vacation or out to dinner or seeing a friend, it's always a fun thing to do. So when we change the things that we think of as drudgery and we say we get to do it, it absolutely changes the vibration and our experience of it. So I highly, highly recommend that taking this on as a challenge. And when you catch yourself saying have to flip it in your mind to you get to, and embody that feeling of get to, and really hone it in before you take on the task and see how it changes. So that is the mindset moment for the moment. And I am, at this time, I'm so pleased that I get to introduce my dear friend, Nicole Mitchell. Now, Nicole is certified by the International Board of Coaches and Practitioners as a clinical hypnotherapist, spiritual life coach, and an intuitive tarot card reader. And I'm going to have Nicole share, which is our show topic today, Listening to the Whisper, My Path to Sacred Grove, and how she came and we discovered each other and the magic that has created. So, Nicole, I really want to welcome you to the show today. Thank you so much for being here. And I know our listeners are going to be excited to hear what you have to share with us. So how did you find Sacred Grove Retreat?
Hi, Ellen. Thank you so much for having me. It's interesting. I was on a spiritual journey. So I started my spiritual journey probably back in 2012, 2013. And I took a couple classes and realized that I really did have an intuitive gift, but I was a little bit nervous and it kind of scared me. So I backed off of it. But, I got curious again and wanted a closer relationship with God and got back into spirituality. I heard the calling about 2015, 2016 when I was going through some difficult times. And one of the mediums that I found throughout this was tarot cards. Now, I noticed that you pronounced it tarot, and we have a difference in the way we pronounce it, but it's all the same. So tarot cards, I realized, gave information that was connected to the spiritual world, and I love them as a medium. So I started working with tarot back in about 2017 and really got into it in 2018. And in 2018, I was looking for a place to expand my knowledge, maybe even read cards for people, maybe even have a small spiritual circle of my own. And I was really curious about places that I could go to and finding my tribe. And I happened to be on Facebook looking for places to read tarot cards, and I came across a suggestion that suggested Sacred Grove. So I did not grow up here in North Carolina. I grew up in Massachusetts, and back in Massachusetts, in a tiny little town, I grew up in a place called Asbury Grove. So the word grove, when we used to just call it the Grove, the word grove has a very special place in my heart. So that when I saw the word Sacred Grove, it really piqued my interest. I was like, there's another grove. I got to check this out. And then upon further inspection of Sacred Grove, I saw that it was in Gold Hill. And that was a big surprise for me, because Gold Hill, North Carolina. Now, mind you, I've moved here. I was 800 miles. I'm from Massachusetts. I'm all the way down here in North Carolina. I move about 45 minutes away from Meisenheimer, which is right next to Sacred Grove Retreat, and it is right next to Gold Hill. And Meisenheimer is where my second set of parents met. So back in Massachusetts, I digress. Back in Massachusetts, I grew up with a very close family. They were like my second set of parents. Their names were Patty and Don Miller. And Don Miller had crossed over. He passed away, I think in about I forgot exactly what year it was. I want to say 2011. And he was like a father figure to me. He definitely was like a second father. And for some reason, I realized that he had met his wife in Meisenheimer right next to Sacred Grove. And I heard it loud and clear that I needed to go to Sacred Grove. And it was almost as if I was experiencing him telling me to go to Sacred Grove. So it was a Sunday morning. I'd found Sacred Grove online. I didn't know what it was. So I found out it was only, within about a half an hour from my house. I got in my car. I drove out there. I heard the whisper. I heard, go to Sacred Grove. Get to Sacred Grove, step on the land, and it was just magic. It was just beautiful and comfortable, and I felt safe. I felt at home. But I didn't see a check-in desk, and I didn't see anybody, and I didn't know what to do. And there was a little dog that came up to me, and it wasn't your dog, Murphy, Ellen. But then there was a cat that came up to me, and it was Star Kitty. And I looked around, and I couldn't find anybody, and suddenly I felt like I might not be where I need to be right now. I might be trespassing. Couldn't find anybody. And then I decided to go home. But on the way home, I called and left a message. And then that's when I first talked to you, because you called me probably about a half an hour after I'd gotten home. And we talked for almost an hour. And you invited me to come back to have a conversation the next day. Yes. And that was crazy, because I had been on this spiritual journey, and I had been studying, the fact that we have more power than we know, that our mindset creates our world, that our beliefs create our world, and it's on a very deep level. And no one else that I had been in contact with, friends or family, have been discussing topics like that. And you were the first person that I could talk to about that. So you were just like you were like a beacon just shining. And, it was a wonderful way for me to come back to God, in the sense that it was outside of religion, but it was still God. And you and I discussed just how powerful, us creating our reality is, and I was sold, hooked, and I came back the next day. Now that's when the real magic happened the next day. That was besides the fact that I met you, and we talked a lot of the same language, which is the language of transformation, and how we create our reality, and getting close to source, which is that spiritual energy, and how we can create with it. That was alone an amazing conversation. I'd never had that with anybody else.
I love it.
So then the next day when I came back, and I found out how much we had in common. Yes. It was crazy.
Oh, that's right. The the many coincidences that are not coincidences. They're God winks, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. This conversation that we had that day made me think I'd known you in a previous life, because Albert is not a common name. No. Both of our fathers' names is our Albert. I know, right? English, huh? Albert. And then brothers. We both have brothers named Albert.
Yes.
And then, so growing up in Massachusetts, a small college like Presbyterian College in Clinton, South Carolina, isn't necessarily something that's on everyone's list. But my brother ended up going to Presbyterian College down here in South Carolina from Massachusetts. And my brother, Bobby,
also went to Presbyterian College. They did not go the same year, but
No.
they went to the same tiny little college in Clinton, South Carolina.
Right. Yes. Yes. And it was just, I mean, that coincidence too. And then to find out that, my birthday, March 12th, your brother's born on my birthday.
Yeah. I have a brother born on March 12th.
Mm-hmm.
And then also your mother, Nicole's mother's birthday is the day after mine.
Before.
The same.
Oh, no, after. Yes.
Yeah. The same year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both born in 53. So it was just like there were so many coincidences. And we just connected on such a deep soul level that it was like, oh, good, there you are again. What are we going to do this lifetime together?
Exactly. Right.
So, yeah, it was a lovely, 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 a lovely meeting. So I just want to let the listeners know we do not have a check-in desk. We do not have a sign saying you have got the offices here and to go in and la, 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 la. So just be aware of that. When you come to Sacred Grove, always contact me beforehand so that you can get to the right place at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I'm glad, well, obviously, I'm glad I gave you that call and I didn't just leave because something just told me that I needed to be there. And, and it's interesting how it comes full circle because now when we look at, I showed up at Sacred Grove on a whim in 2018. And in 2018 is when I really wanted to delve into offering spiritual classes and support and really get into spirituality with people. And we weren't able to do that at Sacred Grove until 2024. We really didn't get in and do that. But that was my goal when I showed up there. Ellen had another idea in mind for me. She introduced me to a training. She introduced me to something called gratitude training. And when I was there, all I wanted to do was be at Sacred Grove and do something at Sacred Grove. And Ellen had mentioned gratitude training. And that was kind of interesting because I wanted to do a transformational training and I wanted to become a coach. And there was a program in Raleigh that I wanted to go to. And that was a couple of thousands, many thousands of dollars in Raleigh. And at the time, I had just moved down here to North Carolina and I couldn't figure out a way how to get there financially with all the things that I was doing, other things I was doing in my life. And it seemed like a really big undertaking. But I wanted to become a coach. I wanted to support people. I wanted to talk about spirituality. I wanted to coach them through cards. I wanted all of this. And I wanted to do it at Sacred Grove. And it's very interesting, Ellen, because what I didn't know at the time is that even though I wanted to, I wasn't ready to do that. And then the universe put you in my path to say, go to gratitude training. So then I ended up going to this training, to gratitude training. And that in itself was a miracle because when you introduced that to me, it was something that I hadn't done. Personal development was for other people at that time. I didn't think that I was the kind of person who could sit in a group with other people and learn about themselves. And man, oh man, was that a miracle to get to gratitude training. Not only that, because I was studying spirituality and how we create our own reality, I had written on my calendar all of 2017. I had taken, so I worked at this office, at this very large medical office, and they would give us these office-issued calendars. Beautiful pictures on the calendar, regular wall calendar that you hang up on the wall. And I had taken a black Sharpie and I'd scrawled the word gratitude across the beautiful landscapes of every calendar of every month because I had been listening to Oprah Winfrey in her Super Soul Sundays. And she had talked about having an attitude of gratitude and how gratitude actually brings you more things to be grateful for. So I wanted to be in gratitude. I didn't want to be in places where I had been before, which was the poor me and the victim mindset. I really wanted to be in the gratitude mindset. So, writing gratitude on the calendar for a year led me to gratitude training.
I love it. So we're going to take a short break. And so when we come back, we'll continue our discussion on listening to the whisper, My Path to Sacred Grove with Nicole Mitchell. And just to let you know, you're listening to Mindset and Miracles, and I'm your host, Ellen Whiteside. You're tuned in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. And we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community and those streaming live through free TuneIn radio app, Streama, Apple Music, Radio Seed, and more. You're listening to Mindset and Miracles, and I'm your host, Ellen Whiteside. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing Listening to the Whisper, My Path to the Sacred Grove with Nicole Mitchell. So before we get started, I want to give you a little hint about a lovely place to go to. So if you're looking for a getaway that feeds your soul, come stay at Sacred Grove Retreat, a peaceful 11-acre sanctuary in Gold Hill, North Carolina. Whether you're craving quiet reflection, an empowering group retreat, or a romantic weekend for two, Sacred Grove offers something magical for everyone, including a meditation labyrinth, forest trails, cozy cabins, yurts, and even a natural energy vortex. Book your getaway or retreat today by emailing me at ellenwdrb@gmail.com. Your miracle is waiting. All right, Nicole, so let's get started again. I know we ended the last segment talking about you writing the word gratitude on your journal or on your calendar that you had at your office. And lo and behold, here I come and tell you about this training called Gratitude as a Synchronicity. So tell us about that.
Well, that was so cool because I think it was you who had pointed that out to me. I didn't even recognize it because it was just so kind of right there. When we focus on something, and this is what I had been kind of studying and really, allowing myself to absorb and start to put into practice, is the practice of mindset and that your energy goes where your focus is. So I had the word gratitude written on my calendar. I was clearly focused on gratitude. And, I'd written that because of Oprah Winfrey, not knowing that there was something called gratitude training. So quite literally, I manifested gratitude from that focus of creating the experience of being grateful for things, and just wanting to bring more gratitude into my life. So it's kind of wild when you think about all of that, just how writing gratitude on a calendar enrolls me in a gratitude training and my life changes. Because essentially when I got enrolled in that, and you had given me a free pass.
Yes.
So you gave me a free pass to that.
I was determined to get you in that training.
Yes, I know. And it's so interesting because when I got to Sacred Grove, I was like, this woman I'm connecting with on a level that I've never connected with anybody else on. And this is all new information to me, and I really have been absorbed in it. And you were the first person that talked to me about it. So I had the people-pleasing vibe, which, I still do. And people-pleasing is something that, just comes more natural to some people than others. But for me, I really didn't want to disappoint you because I had found this person who had this connection with this new life that I was forming, and not even realizing that, my mindset was changing. I was changing as a person. And so you were the next logical step that the universe put in my path to reconnect with from some previous life, possibly. We've never had any kind of, have we had a past life regression type thing? Oh, maybe we had an Akashic Records reader who said that. I think she had mentioned something about a past life, but I just know
No, we have to have done.
Absolutely.
Yes. Definitely a soul connection.
Yeah,
for sure.
We've done this many times.
Yeah.
So, but here in my life at age 42, we reconnect from a previous life. I'll just say it that way. And I really wanted to, at that time, become a life coach because I wanted to share with other people what I was experiencing through, this eye-opening experience of being able to have a choice in what you think and not just be relegated to what life throws at you. It's like, no, you can actually choose. So the really cool thing about, getting that free pass is that the training started for me the moment you gave me that free pass. Being a people pleaser, not wanting to ask for things, I ended up getting into a car accident after I met you. Some man had rear-ended me, and the back part of the bumper had pushed into my wheel so that my car would not drive, and I couldn't drive my car. And I had to go to this training, which was an hour away. So, the old me was going to be like, well, I'm just going to have to call the nice lady and tell her that I can't go to the training because, I don't have a car. And then I did something that was uncharacteristic of me at the time, not wanting to take up space, not wanting to ask for too many things, not wanting to be a pain or a bug or a bother. I didn't want to have to call the insurance company and ask for a rental car. So I was going to try to see if I could borrow, a car from my family. But, that's when I had a mindset shift and I went, I I'm going to call. I'm going to call and ask. And I called and I asked and I got a car and it was easy and, and I didn't die in the process of asking for something that I didn't think at the time I deserved. Exactly. Yeah. Because there's that whole unworthiness, like, oh, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to put anybody out. I don't want to, and thinking of that man, oh, that poor man, he rear-ended me. And I don't want to cause him any more money on his insurance plan by getting a rental car for me.
Taking care of everybody else but you.
Mm-hmm. And I was really accustomed to doing that. And, I had called into work the next day because I didn't have a car and I was trying to figure my situation out. And, I didn't get hurt. I had a sore back for a little while, but that passed, thankfully. But I ended up getting the car and ended up going to gratitude training. And the interesting thing, after I got there and after I spent the first 4 days of the training program, I heard that stories of a lot of people that had mishaps or obstacles come up on their way to gratitude training. And I realized that it's like when your life is about to change, it's so interesting how your subconscious creates situations. And this is a whole nother story, a very big topic, but your subconscious creates situations in order to kind of keep you in your place because the unknown is scary. And, going into this training, it's a personal development training program. I hadn't done anything like this before. I was curious about things like this, but I didn't think I was that person that did things like this because I didn't think of myself as being very smart. And I'd had an experience, I'd say back in fourth grade, and I've been living from that one experience in fourth grade and subsequent experiences after that, which I was creating, the image of myself being not a smart person. So I thought I was not smart throughout all these years. So why would I do higher education? How would I finish a higher education program? I'm not that kind of person. I drop out of things. I don't,
Right. You're not a finisher.
Exactly. I'm not a finisher. So for me to actually go and do the first 4 days of the program, that was pretty amazing. And then to continue on with the program, this training, which doesn't exist anymore.
Gratitude does not exist.
Gratitude does not exist anymore, yes. The specific training that we did. Yeah. It was a COVID casualty. It was an in-person training program that was in Mooresville, North Carolina, and also in Florida. But unfortunately wasn't able to continue in that form after COVID. But the trainings are these. It was this eye-opening experience which allowed me to see what was really going on in my mind. And we go on autopilot. So, we have this set of characteristics that make up our personality, and we run from those, and we typically don't question them, like why I do the things that I do, and sometimes we get frustrated with ourselves and we just continue to do them, but we don't really dig deep. Well, this program allowed us to dig deep. It allowed us to go under the hood. It allowed us to get this eye-opening, soul-stirring experience of, hold on a second, you might have made up a lot of stories about yourself along the way about who you are, and do they work for you? And if they don't work for you, then maybe they're not true, and maybe there's something else about yourself that you could focus on. So the whole experience of that, and you did the training.
Yes. I did it back in 2015, and then for the next 5 years up until 2020, then I used to coach a lot, because part of the wonderfulness of that training is that after you do it, you get to go back and coach for technically free. I mean, it's your time spent doing it. And just to let everyone know, these trainings were created in the 60s by. Basically, they're a spinoff of Werner Erhardt's work. And I know that there's still a training center called All True out of New York that's still doing the trainings. And I think there's some in Las Vegas and California maybe. But yes, it's an amazing how to really look at yourself and see what's working and what's not, and get rid of what's not and add more of what is. So, yeah, I'm so delighted that it was definitely a life-changing experience for me as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you would explain that to me, too, when I met you. And, at the time, I didn't know what I needed. I knew that I wanted to show people or share with people what I had been learning is that we create our own reality, and that you actually have a choice.
Yeah.
You have a choice in what you think and feel even, and you can cultivate and change, your mindset too, based on whatever it is that you want to feel. So essentially, my default was a lot of times was anxiety. I was experiencing anxiety or frustration or sadness or anger. And I can be in these same experiences now that used to elicit those feelings, and they don't, because I've changed my mindset. Yeah. And that's what I think was so huge with the training. One of the things I really wanted to do, as well as I wanted to have my own business. And I didn't have the confidence for that because, again, remember, I wasn't the smart person. I wasn't the finisher.
Yeah.
I wasn't the person that, went out for these larger goals. I think I was at that time, I definitely was not content to live an average life. And when I say average, I would say, just kind of average, typical, I guess.
Yeah.
I know that I definitely wanted more out of life, and I didn't know how to get there. And I always had one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. And until I got into, transformational training like this, which is similar to the experience that we look to create within our retreat, my world was just blown wide open to possibility. I grew the confidence and the emotional maturity and the mindset and the tools I needed in order to step into my own business, where now I am able to support people from my understanding and from my knowledge base now. And I didn't have that when I went into gratitude. I knew I wanted to coach, but gratitude also gave me the experience of being able to coach. And that's the really cool thing too. Could have gone to this program in Raleigh. It would have set me back a couple $1,000s, quite a few thousand. I think it was a little less than $10,000 at the time, and probably worth every penny. I'm not saying that it wasn't, but at the time, I wanted this so badly. I did not have the funds or the ability to, or the desire to use those funds, I would say, out of savings or out of any other account to kind of invest in myself. And that's something, that's definitely shifted for me. I do realize that investing in yourself is very important. But at the time, I created an opportunity for myself unknowingly because I was so focused on what I wanted that the universe just created this pathway forward for me. And the pathway forward, there's no way I could have thought of it myself. Mm-hmm. There's no way I could have thought that on a Sunday morning I would open up Facebook and Facebook would show me Sacred Grove, and Sacred Grove would lead me to Ellen, and Ellen would lead me to gratitude training, and gratitude training would lead me to, this confidence and this newfound mindset and this emotional maturity that was able to give me exactly what I set out to create, which was to get myself in a position to be able to support other people, to tell them that, like, hey, you don't have to you don't have to always be at a disadvantage when things happen that you don't want.
Right.
And that to me was huge. That was the choice. Choice was always. I speak with clients today, and sometimes I hear them say, well, I don't have a choice. And to me, I think that's I love that statement, because I'm like, ooh, wait till I remind them that they have all the choice in the world. Always choice.
Always at choice.
Yes. And no matter what we're creating, we always have a choice point at some place. And it was huge. Gratitude, that alone was huge for me. And there's no way that I could have imagined how I would have gotten to where I needed to be. But the universe created that pathway forward to me in this kind of miraculous way. It was all just perfect.
I always say that gratitude is like getting 20 years of therapy.
Oh, my God.
In a very short period of time.
It was.
And it would be with a very good therapist.
Yes.
It would not be with the mediocre one. And, it's phenomenal, like accelerated, like, let's get through this and get you bright and shiny to take on your life.
100%. I agree. Yeah.
So... All right, so when we come back, Nicole and I are doing a wonderful retreat together called Empower and Elevate. It's a women's retreat, and we will be talking about that in the next segment when we come back. So you're tuned in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. So don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing Listening to the Whisper, My Path to Sacred Grove with Nicole Mitchell. So Sacred Grove isn't just for retreats. It's where memories are made. Nestled on 11 peaceful acres, it is the perfect peaceful backdrop for family reunions, weddings, girls' getaways, romantic escapes, or team building retreats. So whether you're coming to celebrate, to connect, or just breathe, you'll find space to do it all. Come and stay. The magic is real. Visit sacredgroveretreat.com to learn more. So joining us in the studio today is my guest and very good friend, Nicole Mitchell. You can visit Nicole's website at risewithmetarot.com, or you can contact her by email at risewithmetarot@gmail.com. So Nicole, let's tell our listeners about the retreat that we'll be hosting June 6th through 8th at Sacred Grove Retreat.
Yes. Yeah, this is something that, it's funny. It feels like it's a long time coming, because when I stepped on the grounds at Sacred Grove and I knew it was a retreat center, at that time, where I was in my mindset and who I was as a person did not think I was capable of leading a retreat. But I still wanted to go and lead something there and do something at Sacred Grove. And now, 6 years later, because technically we did our first retreat last year in 2024, in the spring of 2024, and it was so successful that we tripled our enrollment for our second retreat in the fall of 2024. That we continue to do this. That it's interesting in the span of transformation. It's something that I couldn't picture for myself now, and now it's like I cannot wait to get in there and do these retreats, because we have such a good time. Yeah, we really do. And I love the process that we go through, too.
So tell our listeners about the process that we take people through.
Yeah. So a lot of times we noticed, because I know that your show's mindset, we did talk about the miracle part ahead of time, about me finding my way to Sacred Grove, and that was definitely a miracle. But the mindset part of it is something that you really helped me instill. I've been doing a lot of spiritual work before then, but I really hadn't done a lot of mindset work. And what we really wanted to do, when you and I remember when we were discussing, is we really want to walk through people through a mindset process at the retreat that really supports their growth, and not just a weekend of having, some great moments, but actually being able to carry this throughout the rest of their lives. And the first thing that we do in the retreat process is the reveal. And reveal is, I think that's probably, out of all the steps, what do you think is the most important? Because I think the reveal is probably the most
I think reveal. It's like when people realize what they're doing that no longer serves them, it's like really helping people to be the observer of how they're living their lives and looking at what's holding them back. And it's like, what behavior am I doing that's blocking me? Or what is it I'm putting in my way? And really getting to see that for the first time for a lot of people is really life-changing.
So eye-opening.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember going through life for the most part before I found transformational training and got into mindset work, feeling like I had one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. Like I was trying to go, but I couldn't. And I couldn't figure out how I couldn't get anywhere until I realized that it's a mindset. You're able to change your mind. If you're able to change your mind, you're able to change your life, technically. Right. And the reveal process is figuring out okay, what thoughts am I having that actually aren't working for me? And that's pretty cool, is revealing that, because we realize that we have choice.
Yes.
That we can think different things. Like, just because we think something is true doesn't mean that it is actually true. I believe, and I love this because there is a great teacher of manifestation, Abraham Hicks, and that says that a belief is just a thought that we've repeated multiple times. Mm-hmm. So when we repeat these thoughts to ourselves over and over again, they become our beliefs. And in this process, we reveal the beliefs behind the thoughts that people thought over and over again that may or may not be true about themselves.
Right. Yeah. And they may not be serving, a lot of times those beliefs really are not serving the individual at all.
Definitely not. I went through many years thinking that I was not really intelligent. And that stopped me from doing a lot of things in my life until that was revealed to me, that was, an underlying belief that I had. And it's a thought that I carried throughout most of my life. And, and the second part, of course, once we reveal those, the second part is that we get to release those. So, and I love the release part too, because we have this special little thing that we do, which we're, I'm not going to share, but got to be at the retreat to do this. But we have this beautiful evening, a beautiful part where we do the release part. And that is about us saying that we've revealed what is not running us what's running us, what's not working for us anymore. We can now let it go. Right. And then after that, of course, when we let something go, something else has to come in to fill the spot. And that's the rewire part. And we have a special process for the rewire part too. And what we're doing at the retreat, which is really cool, is we're not actually creating a life forward for anybody. We are supporting the life that people are creating on their own. So we just open up that door for them to walk through. It's each and every individual's own personal power to walk through that door. So the rewiring part, we are not brainwashing. We are not putting anything in there that is, our beliefs or our thoughts. It's basically allowing, each and every person that we work with to rewire. Okay, well, what is it that you want now? Let's put that as the constant in your mind instead of something else as being the constant, because we know that what we constantly focus on, we end up manifesting. And then, of course, we come to the rebirth. And that's a beautiful moment, a beautiful set of moments, I would say. And that starts, kind of the process of integrating everything that they've learned at the retreat. And that rebirth process, after we do that and we don't get to see them anymore because we've had them for the weekend and they get to go home, that rebirth continues. I mean, because we've seen at least 3 women start their own businesses after they came to the retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we've also, the second retreat, we tripled the enrollment too. It's a really powerful thing. And I think that, you being the stand that you are, Ellen, for transformation, for people getting their worth, for people understanding that, we have choice, really allowed me to step into that space with you. Yes. And it's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty amazing. We've done so many different processes ourselves personally, right? Yeah. And this whole, which is amazing too, because now we have like this catalog that we can pull from that we can also use to support other people. And I think that the processes that we've picked out are pretty impactful. I don't know. What do you think?
I think they're very impactful.
Yeah.
I think the results are proof to the pudding.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
And I love all of the testimonials that we get from people.
Yes.
And that it becomes such a cohesive connecting group. And that's one thing that I feel like Sacred Grove is so great for. It's like the energy, the bonfires that we do at night, it just creates connection, and they're small, intimate retreats. And so we do have a few more spots open for our next one. And
we do.
I just love that it's a great, great, great place to come and be, and you get to be with you and me. And it's like, that makes it really special for us and for anyone else that participates.
Well, because anyone who comes on the land, too, that's what I love about Sacred Grove. Is the very first time that I stepped foot on that Sacred Grove, on the land on Sacred Grove, it's almost like, it's like a hug. Mm-hmm. It's like your home, that area is so beautiful, so that it is so conducive to this incredibly powerful healing work that we get to do there, and plus we also have fun, like the fair.
Yes. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to share with everyone. We, Nicole and I, banded together and we created the Holistic Fair at Sacred Grove. So that is a fair that is held. We've held it twice. We had our second one this year, but we're going to do it in the fall again. So instead of doing it once a year, we're going to do it twice a year. And I think October 4th is the next one on that. 4th? It's in my head that is the next one. So we get a lot of local healers and different people that sell different things, whether it's pottery or crystals or whatever that someone is making. Stuff. There's some very wonderful handcrafted items that people are there selling, and it's a magical experience with good food, good coffee, and we had a drum circle that we do. That was a big hit this year. We added that for this last time that we did it. And that's another thing I'd like to tell people about. We're going to be having the next drum circle. We're going to start having regular drum circles again at Sacred Grove, and our next one is on, let's see, what are we, May 25th, I think
25th.
is a Sunday.
Sunday.
So a Sunday at 2 on May 25th, we'll have a drum circle. We have drums, but if you're interested in coming, just come. We have extra drums for people to play, and it's a great day. We sit in the vortex area, or if it's, depending on the weather, it could be raining, we can be in the yurt. And the yurt is a magical, magical space. I don't know if any of you listeners have been in a yurt before, but they're magical. They're round. Energy can't get stuck in the corners, so it is just a magical space to be in for brainstorming especially, and creating magic on all levels. So the Holistic Fair is definitely a magical thing, but the retreat, which is coming up,
Yes.
June 6th through 8th, we
Yes.
do have a few openings for that. So
We do. And and I think we've learned a lot over the first 2 times that we've held the retreat. We had a learning curve from the first one, and the first one was still so magical and amazing, and the women that were there, and the lovely reviews and information that they've given us, the feedback that they've given us, and then the second retreat that we had, we tweaked things a little bit, so we made some changes, and we were able to accommodate more people, because we had, like I said, we tripled our enrollment for the second one, and we're able to go through these processes with everyone. It's just to bring them into just this beautiful, to guide them, I would say, into this beautiful space in their life, because we're so fortunate to be able to do this work, because we've been in these spaces, and we continue to cycle through times when things are tough, and when we're not exactly sure what the right move is for us, and sometimes when we lose our confidence, and there are things that we want in life, but we don't think that we can get them, or we don't think that we know the path forward, and just to come into this space of empower and elevate, and to find our way kind of back to our personal power, to be allowed to do that in a safe and supportive environment. I mean, it's basically a dream come true for me to be able to facilitate something like this, because when I set foot on Sacred Grove, 7 years prior to that, I know I wanted to do stuff, but we also had a kind of crazy couple of years. I mean, we were forgetting that COVID happened, not that we've forgotten, but in the time period in which I stepped foot on Sacred Grove to now when we started actually creating things together on Sacred Grove, it being a 6-year time period, there was a wrench in the middle of that. Because my first, I came to Sacred Grove to hold I didn't think anything as big as this, but I wanted like small spiritual circles, or be able to say, hey, I read cards, you can come to Sacred Grove, I'll be there reading cards. And now we've done the fair twice, and we've done Empower and Elevate twice, and we're about to do our third Empower and Elevate, and we've it's already filling up. And we're still offering it it's such a great rate.
It's a great discount
for what you're getting, because you're getting 2 professional coaches. We're professional coaches, and I'm so excited for Empower and Elevate. It's just, I'm just psyched. I don't know what else to say.
I am too. I can't wait for it to be starting up, and it'll be here before we know it.
It will, yeah. And, every year, too, we tend to get the best weather for this retreat.
Yes.
And this is going to be amazing. This year, I really feel like we've got a great group of women already starting to form and build. And the people who attend the retreat, too, you create these friendships with people.
Yeah.
Because you're able to spend such a short but powerful period of time where you're able to really connect with people on levels that you're not normally able to connect with in your day-to-day life.
And I think that's what was such a magical experience, was the people that came last time from all different walks of life, and how everyone was really connected with each other.
Yes.
So it's been amazing. So if you are looking at coming to the retreat, please go to Rise With Me Tarot /retreat. And you can find out all the information and register there.
Mm-hmm. And Ellen pronounces it tarot, and obviously you've heard me say tarot. So it's Rise With Me, T as in Tom, AROT as in Tom for tarot.com.
Yes. And I was thinking that because it's like it does not spell or sound like it spells. So thanks for clarifying that.
Correct.
All right, everyone. So thank you, Nicole, so much. It has been just an absolute joy and pleasure to have you here with me today. So, and we are going to take a short break here. Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live through free TuneIn Radio app, Streama, Apple Music, Radio Seed, and more. You're listening to Mindset and Miracles, and I'm your host, Ellen Whiteside. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing Listening to the Whisper, My Path to Sacred Grove with my dear friend, Nicole Mitchell. And before we get started again, I just want you to know that you can come home to yourself at Sacred Grove Retreat. Situated on 11 acres in Gold Hill, North Carolina, this is a sanctuary for healing, connection, and spiritual renewal. Come home to yourself at Sacred Grove Retreat. So whether you're planning a retreat, a romantic escape, or a weekend to reset, this sacred land holds space for transformation. Labyrinth walks, cozy cabins, forest trails, and an energy vortex await. Your peace lives here. Learn more at sacredgroveretreat.com. All right, Nicole, so we're back. So what I would like to do is just start off with just a little bit of a recap about the mindset moment that I started with, was turning your have-tos into get-tos. And I know that that was something I would love for participants to email me with any of your have-to changing to get-tos situations that you've noticed have made a difference in your life. And Nicole, I'd love for you to share one of your have-to, turning your have-to a get-to.
No, this is a good one.
Yes.
So, I have 2 cats.
Oh.
So I have 2 cats. They are indoor cats. They are strictly indoor. And if anybody knows indoor cats, if you do not teach them to use your facilities, your toilet, then they have their own. And that is called a litter box. It is the most... It is one of my least favorite chores. It's one of my, and I don't even like the word chore. It is one of my least favorite things that I get to do. That is for sure. And, when I was thinking about the have-tos and the get-tos and going through this kind of experience of realizing no one likes to clean cat boxes, right? I mean, they're disgusting. And I had to change that. When I say had to, it's like I had the opportunity to change that into a get to.
Yeah.
And the way that I got there is by imagining all the things that would happen if I didn't clean the litter box. All the things, and I imagined all the places that I would find litter box items outside of the litter box around my house if I didn't clean the litter box. So essentially, I was able to look at that particular event, turn it into a get to. I get to clean the litter box because I get to have a cleaner house. I get to have the right, shall we say, deposits in the right places. So it's actually motivating for me to realize that that is a get to. So again, it's when you talk about drudgery, about cleaning and everything, yeah, that is something that I do not look forward to. And, and if anybody who has a litter box, it really even doesn't take that long. It's just, you got to go in there and do it. So I get to, because doing that actually puts me in a really good place, whereas if I didn't do that, I would be really unhappy because of the circumstances it would create. So, So actually, when comes time to clean the litter box now, it's something that I get to do. And because I've now kind of imprinted that in the back of my mind, I get to do that, and it makes me happy. Yeah, it never before. But it used to be a have-to. And let me tell you, those have-tos, I had a hard time getting it done when it was a have-to.
Yeah. So I highly encourage everyone to try this simple changing of 2 words in your life, from have-tos to get-tos, and see what miracles can come forth for you. And I just want to also remind everyone of our retreat that we have coming up. You can read all about it at riseWithMeTarot.com/retreat. And just to let you know, you spell tarot, Tarot. I always say, this is a little funny story. Nicole is an amazing intuitive. I have had the best readings from her. I've had so many tarot card readings, and they're always, when I say always, spot on. So I have nicknamed her fondly a name that doesn't even exist in the world except for when I say it, which is that Nicole is the best tarologist on the planet. It sounds like a proctologist, but it's a tarologist.
Well, I get in there.
She goes deep.
I definitely go deep, and we excavate some CRAP. So.
Yes. So it might be the proper name for her. But anyway, you can always contact her at risewithmetarot.com, which is her website, and look at information about our retreat. We do have a few spots remaining. We would love, love, love to have some of you join us for that. You can read all about it at risewithmetarot.com/retreat.
Yes, and we've got pictures from last year's 2 retreats up there. Our second retreat, we tripled our enrollment. There's somebody that asked me, well, what do I do at the retreat? Like, what do we do? There's a lot of different, we have discussions, a lot of different activities, some journaling, a little bit of meditation. We do a lot of different things, and they're fun though.
They're so bonding. That's what's so. It's just so magical to see strangers, come into a situation when it's and I feel like we both have that ability to create sacred space, and that the people feel comfortable and they start sharing immediately, and the connections that are created are just lifelong. And I just love that. So yes, we would love to have some of these listeners join us for that. That would be just most awesome.
And, because Sacred Grove also is just having that land out there. It is just so peaceful and quiet out there. And when you remove yourself from your daily surroundings, too, that's also a really big thing.
Yeah.
When you take yourself out of the regular routine that you have, and, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this all the time, and especially in his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. But just in general, when you remove yourself from your old surroundings, you actually can create breakthroughs easier because you're not set up in your same surroundings of routine. So your brain starts to think differently. Your mind is not on autopilot, and now it's more present because you're now taking in new information. So when you go to a retreat, when you come to a retreat like Empower and Elevate, the work that you can get done, the support that you can have, and the connection and the breakthrough and mindset and the coaching experience you can have in this immersive, 2.5 day, almost 3 day experience is far beyond what you can experience maybe just by reading a book or by, following a program by yourself. Being in community, being with other people, and having this experiential learning in this retreat is really powerful.
Yeah, and I like to speak into the magic of Sacred Grove.
Oh,
I mean, the land itself, there's a vortex on the land, and the energy is amazing. And there's a meditation labyrinth. So just literally, as Nicole said, when she stepped on the land, that she felt like it was like a feeling of safety and home and serenity. And I've had so many people tell me they've never slept so well as they have at Sacred Grove, and people having healings. And so it really is, it is the perfect environment as far as I'm concerned to step into, to do a retreat where you feel nurtured and taken care of, and that the people and the land support you in your transformation.
It's like a hug.
It's like a big hug.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So awesome. So let's see, Nicole. I am just so grateful that you were able to be here with me today. And
thank you so much for having me, Ellen. I love this conversation. I love our conversations.
I love our conversations.
And now other people get to hear our conversations. Exactly. I hope they enjoy them as much as we do.
So I just want everyone to know to please join us next week as we continue our discussion on Mindset and Miracles with our next show, which is going to be titled The Comeback Code from Wreckage to Revelation, How I Created a Miracle by Totaling My Car. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you again, Nicole, for joining me today. And continue to tune in every Monday at 11 a.m. And please listen live 24/7 by going to wdrbmedia.com and click on the Listen Live tab. Also, if you want to be a guest on the show or you want free advertising, you can email me at ellenwdrb@gmail.com. That's ellenwdrb@gmail.com. So you've been listening to Mindset and Miracles, and I'm your host, Ellen Whiteside, on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, for double the information and inspiration. Until next week, continue to be blessed. And remember to stay open, stay brave, and don't forget, mindset is your miracle magnet.